Farrukh Mukhamedov, who's going to speak about genetic algebras. I must say that I'm intrigued by the title, but let's hear what it is about.
Hello, thank you for everyone. So do you hear me well?
Can you somehow make it louder? It sounds a little bit too quiet.
Hello?
Yeah. No,
is it clear or not?
It's clear now to me, at least.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Wait a moment. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Also, what is called screen? You can see, yes?
Yes, I can see. If anybody else can confirm, that would be nice, but at least I can see.
Yes, we see the screen.
Okay. Everybody can see, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the organizers to letting me present my presentation. So basically, I'm going to talk about the genetic algebras. Maybe someone already knows, maybe someone, this is some kind of introductory talk about the genetic algebras. Basically, in this talk, I want to give a little bit motivation to the youngsters who are interested in non-associative algebras, and to motivate, and then to little bit say what some kind of problems and what are some kind of information about these algebras. But basically, it is how they appear and what is the general problems in this area. So about this stuff, I want to share my ideas so that the listeners can benefit from it. Okay. So basically, these genetic algebras are originate from the population of the mass. But my approach is a little bit somehow relates to the population of genetics, and then a little bit relate to the dynamical systems, so that it is in somehow you will see later on in the intersection of 2 or 3 areas, so that I hope it will motivate the students to do research on this area. So basically, population is a summation of organisms of the same group of species. Okay, so we want to discuss some kind of what will happen with this population after some time. We want to learn about the distribution of this population, okay, in some organisms. So basically, these ideas come from the biology, okay? So what is, for example, in the current stage, if you have some kind of species and their distribution are given, for example, you have, for example, some flowers, and then you in the field, and then there are distribution, 40% yellow, maybe 30% red, and the rest, another 30% is white. This is kind of distribution are given, and then there is some kind of suppose we have some kind of a law of crossing, because this crossing comes according to law. So if you know that kind of laws and then distribution, the question, natural question of the population of the dynamics in this population dynamics is to know what will happening after some time. So this distribution will how this distribution in the first generation, second generation will go, or it will be the same. What will happen generally? from the mathematical point of view, what will happen if the time going longer, this distribution of this will stay the same or will converge to some point. This is the main mathematical problem comes from this theory. So generally, what I'm talking about is we want to examine the evolution of the distribution of the given distribution of the species. Okay, this is a main mathematical problem. So basically, in this theory, in this distribution of this to knowing evolution, there are several methods we can apply. One is a probability theory, stochastic processes, dynamical systems, differential equations, and then most of this stuff like this. So, and from the algebraic point of view, also there is some kind of approach to little bit predict what will happen with this distribution by looking algebraic properties of somehow of that models. Okay, so this is the main motivation to study these models from the algebraic point of view. Okay, so this is the main idea. So in this talk, I want to talk about algebraic and probabilistic approaches to this population dynamics. Okay, this is some kind of crossing between algebraic and probabilistic approaches in the population dynamics. So before to formulate nicely everything, so I will little bit talk about a little bit how these things important, because as I told you, if you know in the beginning the current distribution of the species or some kind of species, then after some time these species are growing or disappears. So basically this is the point, because in the biology it's important to know how this distribution, for example you have crocodiles and then some other big hippos, and they're surviving in the same time area, and then after time is being, who will survive, or both of them survive, and what is the distribution. Okay, so this is kind of stuff are important from the biological. From a mathematical point of view, it is we want to know how they change by time. This is we want to know, but we want to know this information from the algebraic point of view, because I will tell you later on how this stuff will is related to the algebra, and then how from that we can take some kind of information, and then what are the main problems still remaining in this area. This is what I want to discuss a little bit later. Okay, basically population dynamics and the genetics. This is a basic inspiration of what I want to talk. It is first appeared in the papers of Bernstein. You know, Bernstein is who did his first investigation on 1924, around that time, and then later on this problem was continued by Lubitsch and other what is called researchers to study structure of algebras generated by the dynamics of this population. How they appear, I will let you know in the formulation of this one in the following way. Okay, so let us be a little bit more specific. So let us consider free population. What does it mean, free population? So first of all, we have suppose our population consists of m species. Okay, so you have m could be 1, 2 millions, or it could be it doesn't matter, m species, and then suppose in the beginning we are given its distribution. Okay, distribution is given by this probability. Is the probability of you know what is it probability? You have for example, if you have as a species flowers, as I told you before, In this case, you have, I told you last time, 3. You have m is equal to 3, and then distribution is given in the beginning. So you have a 1 over 3, and then 3 over 10, 4 over 10, and then 3 over 10. This is our distribution, what I told before. So this probability distribution is given, and then we want, and we also are given some kind of interaction probability also. What does it mean, interaction probability? So, for example, probability of Pijk, what does it mean? So if you have an interaction with E's and G's spaces, what will appear at the probability of appearing of K species, okay, with a space with a K type. For example, you have a flower of white and red. If you cross it, what will be the probability of appearing of yellow? Okay, so these numbers are coming from the what is called, from this experiment. They are coming in the biology. They are coming from the experiments. But as a mathematician, we say they are given. Okay, if we are given these probabilities, interaction probabilities, then we can surely calculate what will happen in the next generation. How to calculate next generation's distribution? How to calculate? In this case, we should use the formula of total probability, which gives the following way. This will be my formula. So what does it mean? If I have a species xi and xj interact with this probability, as we given this, because we want to calculate the distribution at k, and then we should sum up with all possible interactions, and then we get the distribution of the next generation with the k type. This will appear in the next generation. Questions up to now? Do you have any questions? I know for the listeners who is from the algebraic background, the probability stuff a little bit not unusual, but it gives some ideas. Okay, so now if I have a distribution, initial distribution, and now I want to find the next generation. So next generation will be given by the formula 2, 1. Of course, this 2, 1 defines a mapping. We call it as a V. First generation will go to another x prime. So it defines a mapping, which is called evolution operator. Okay, evolution operator. So now, what is next? So we again apply to this V operator to this V prime, and then we got x. So x prime we apply to the V, and then we got x double prime, and so on and so on. We got this kind of sequence, which denote the iterations of the operator V. This is my iterations will appear. Okay, such an operator, this operator V, is called quadratic stochastic operator. For the short, we call it QSO. Why it is quadratic? Because it has two variables, x, I, and xj, and multiply. Therefore, it is called quadratic. Therefore, and it is why it is stochastic, because it maps. Because all distributions, it maps to another distribution. So this means that element from the distributions goes to again to the distribution. So this means that my numbers, that probabilities, should preserve simplex of the probabilities. Okay. So what is the main problem in this population dynamics? The main problem is what is the main behavior of this sequence. Okay. So we want to know what is the main point, main properties of this sequence. You see? So this is a main point. This is the main idea of the population dynamics. So to know the sequence behavior, to to know the sequence behavior. Of course, it depends on what? This behavior depends on V, of course. So we want to know much information about the sequence. It will converge or not converge. What is this limiting set of this set? Or it is dense somewhere, or the sequence does not converge. So these are the stuff, main questions in this theory. Okay, basically, if you want to know some information about these apparatus, about this some kind of studies of these apparatus, I can refer you to this paper or to the book of Rozikov, which is given in at the end, which is called Population Dynamics. So from there you can find more detailed information about these apparatus and then related topics. So now I want to know now little bit remind you how the algebra will appear. So this is a point. How algebra is going to appear from this type of evolution. Okay, first of all, I will take a vector x, and vector x can be written, of course, I'm talking about the Rn right now with the standard basis. So any x I write in the standard basis in this form. Now I introduce multiplication by the following rule. This is my rule, okay? So multiplication of two basis vectors I define by the following rule. So this means that this Pijk comes from that operator. So roughly speaking, the Pijk represents structural matrix of this algebra. So this here as a Pijk, I will take coefficient inheritance of the that mapping V. So this formula gives me this multiplication rule, and in general it will looks like in the follow. It can be written in the following way. So in a general form, so if I take two vectors x and y and I multiply them according to this rule, it will appear new vector with this multiplication. Clearly, of course, if I take x square, if I take x square here, put x times x, this will give to you v. So this is how they connected this multiplication with the v. You see? So x square gives you your operator v. Okay? Therefore, in somehow, this operator v and the algebra are connected by this rule. So now I want to just remind you. Now, if I consider this A, by A I will denote this Rn with this multiplication circle. So mapping, which is from A to A, is called derivation. If it is satisfied this derivation rule, of course, when is derivation is 0, I call it trivial one. Okay, so this we'll discuss later on this notion as well. Okay. So now I will define the something happening with these squares question mark. It is so now I call it operator V, which is given as a formula. It's called Volterra operator, or in some literature this operator is called Lotka-Volterra, but it depends on the choice. Some guys like Volterra, some guys like Lotka-Volterra. When this Pijk satisfies the following property. So Ijk should go to 0 if outcome does not belong to A. So this means that what does it mean? Biological meaning. So offspring repeats one of the parents' genotype means. So, for example, if you have a white and red, so outcome should be the mixture of red or red. This is it cannot the probability of appearing of blue. It is impossible. You see. So in this case, such operator is called Lotka-Volterra or Volterra type of operator. Of course, from the this property, we can easily see if you have a parents have a same type, surely the child also have a same type with 100%. This is a meaning. And then another from the property of the probability, we have this one. So this means that Pij add I, and then Ij with a J, also you will have 100%. This is a comes from the equation 5. Okay. So I again stress you. So this Lotka-Volterra operator is such an operator which in the offspring repeats only parents' genotype. This is the meaning. Okay. Of course, in the biology, these kind of operators appear a lot. So now the question is the following one: how these operators, Lotka-Volterra operators, associate clearly genetic algebra. So this algebra, I will tell you, I forgot to tell you. So this algebra with this multiplication is called genetic algebra. Okay. So this pair is called genetic algebra associated with this Pijk. Okay. So our aim is to study the structure of this algebra depending on this Pijk. Okay. So first of all, easy, more direct, simple algebras are Lotka-Volterra algebras. This is what we want to study a little bit. So just remind you, if my algebra is Lotka-Volterra, then its multiplication table is given by this rule. So you see, EI times EJ, it is a linear combination of these two matrices. And then here, every element of the basis are square equal to E square. So this means that every vertex is idempotent of your algebra. So this is a simple remark, comes from the definition immediately. So this is, as I told you, so if A square equal to A, then it is called idempotent. So this is what is called notions here all the listeners should know. Character as algebra, we call it multiplicative linear form. So this means that it should be homomorphism of A to R. This pair is called baric algebra. So algebra with this character, multiplicative character, is called baric algebra. So for example, now let us consider a very special case, which is called Mendel inheritance of a single gene with two alleles, A capital and small a capital. So here we have a multiplication. For example, A multiplied A. What will have? We call it AA, and then this one, this is a table passing from gamete to zygote. So it's given. This is what is called biological, what is called terminology. And then we have this kind of table of these zygotes. This is coming from what is called multiplication table. Then using this, we can write down multiplication given by this formula. See, here A square is A. This small a also equals to A square. And this one, what does it mean? You see, A times A, it is a half. So this means that this my probability of Pij here is a half. here ij, it's also half. So this means that probability of appearing of A, so probability of A times A. So this means that I will write here somewhere. So probability of interaction A with A will equal to appearance of big A half. Similarly, this one also. Probability of appearance of capital A and small a with appearance of small a, again half. So this is a rule which appears from this equality. You see? So these probabilities appear naturally. So these probabilities are called Mendelian law of inheritance. So now we have the next proposition telling that n-dimensional algebra of free population, so genetic algebra, is always baric. Why it is baric? Because we can always find character. What kind of character we can find? It is we call it character k. X, it is a summation of all coordinates of the vector. This will be our character. So this will be n. So this is a character will be for any genetic algebra. So, but take note, this character may not be uniquely defined. This is a counterexample showing that for the three-dimensional commutative algebra. By the way, I forgot this genetic algebra. What we are looking, this algebra in general, it is commutative because these Pij are considered to be commutative because they are symmetric according to this rule. Why? I will tell you why this. Because in the from the biological perspective, interaction by I and J are supposed to be the same. Therefore, the algebra associated will be always commutative, but this operation, I will take one more time stress here, this operation is not always associative. Therefore, the algebra, genetic algebras, basically are not associative. So here, counterexample shows that commutative algebra may have different kind of characters. So if the kernel of this character is nil, then H is uniquely determined. So basically, in general, the existence of idempotent is not basically in general for a algebra character. What does it mean? Idempotent may not exist for these algebras. Suppose it contains an idempotent element with this property, then I can decompose my algebra into the direct product of A, this is F one-dimensional, and then kernel of the character. So this is in case of existence of the idempotent, I can write as a direct sum of two subalgebras. Of course, in this case, A will have this form. Nil elements are nilpotent elements. Okay, so now let us restrict ourselves to the genetic Volterra case. So in the genetic Volterra case, what we have, our PJI, it satisfies that property. Then next theorem says only this kind of functions are characters of the algebra. only this kind of functions are characters. So this means that Volterra genetic algebra may exhibit a lot of characters. And the next theorem clarifies when this genetic algebra could be associative, because it's important when the algebra is associative, when it's not associative. And then you should treat the algebra accordingly. So next theorem states algebra is associative if and only if we have two conditions, A and B are satisfied at the same time. Basically, the appearance of Pijk with I should be 0 or 1. Okay, you see, this means that from the parents I and J, the child should have either one of the types, 100%. This, in that case, the algebra could be associative. So this means that by looking to the associativity, we may predict what kind of structure has that algebra. Okay, this is we are looking to the structure of the algebra and predicting what can happen. And another one is now let us look how to connect this algebra, Volterra operators, with the graphs. So this is one of the important notions in the dynamical system. So every Volterra operator can be represented in this form. So this means that to any Volterra operator, we can associate some kind of skew symmetric matrix Aij. So corresponding, now we suppose this skew symmetric matrix is not zero. Then to each such kind of matrix, one can associate some kind of a graph. What kind of graph? So direct graph. If Ij is less than 0, then we have an arrow from K to I. See? Otherwise, you have another kind of arrow. So this means that for each skew symmetric matrix, we can associate graphs. And then by looking to the graphs properties, we can formulate the following theorem. The algebra is associative if and only if it is extremal and the corresponding tournament does not have cyclic triple. So this means that inside of the tournament, you don't have a cyclic triple. In that case, your algebra is associative. So this means that we are somehow translating the associativity of the algebra in terms of the graphs. And then we can prove the following theorem, which says any associative Volterra algebra is isomorphic to the algebra with this structural matrix Pij equal to 1 if I more than j. So this is some kind of classification of all Volterra quadratic stochastic operators and then associated genetic algebra. Of course, in this, because this is done for only Volterra. If you want to consider other types of algebras associated with Pijk, then structure and then in generally are not very well investigated at this moment. Only few stuff are known for this Volterra, Volterra type of genetic algebra. For example, I can mention here the papers of some Spanish group and Brazilian group. They are doing this Volterra stuff. They first classified such algebras up to dimension 5 or 6, and then they did some kind of co-algebras related to this one. So this, some kind of investigation are going in this direction. Even in this particular case of algebras.
So just let me see if I understand it correctly.
Let us talk about the derivations of these Walter algebras. So let us by I denote this element set all j when Pij equal to half. So then, since the algebra is finite dimensional, then any derivation can be represented in the term of matrix in this standard basis. So we have the following theorem. Let A be three-dimensional genetic Walter algebra. Then algebra has non-trivial derivation, non-trivial, if there exists I, j, k with these numbers such that Pij equal to half, and then we have this equality. I, k, and j, kj. So this is a property. So at the moment, I give to you I am giving to you some kind of characterization of derivation in dimension 3 only. You see, if you have this not equal to half, then derivation can be explicitly calculated. If it is a half, can be found by the following rules. You see, this is only done in dimension 3, but as far as I know, this kind of investigation already done for up to dimension 5 or 6. Sometimes they are doing now dimension 7 or so, but no more, no higher dimensions still are missing, not considered, or not information are known. Therefore, who is interested, they can do some kind of investigation in general dimension, and then find more classes of non-trivial derivations on Walter algebras. Okay, so this means that this is open right now field. You can do whatever you like, and then of course, here also I can mention also very few things are known for the as automorphisms of this genetic Walter algebras. For example, describe all automorphism of 7-dimensional, 5-dimensional, but very, very few stuff are known in this direction as well. So students are welcome to develop their ideas, to test, and then investigate. Okay. Before going to the next next part, it is about the Bernstein algebras. I want to just a little bit remind you, if we consider even 3-dimensional algebra, if I consider my operator like this, for example, 1 plus ay minus bz, and then y prime equals y, because I can consider all according to my what I mentioned. Any Walter operator can be associated with what is called that form. So now let us consider the 3-dimensional, very simple case. For example, this one. B, C, Z minus A, X, Z prime equals Z. 1 plus B X minus CY. Okay, let us consider this very simple 3-dimensional Walter operator. Of course, here A, B, C are numbers from -1 to 1. Okay, why I'm telling to use this? Because if these numbers A, B, C are same sign, So this means that signum of A equals signum of B. You will see later why I'm telling to you this one. Signum of C. Same. Then this apparatus trajectory does not converge. So this apparatus trajectory does not converge. Even worse, it's even what is called mean also does not converge. It's mean. This mean x plus dot dot. This also does not converge. Does not converge. This is an important fact. So this means that you see, if the signs of the numbers A, B, C are the same, then the trajectory of this apparatus does not converge. So roughly speaking means the trajectory of this kind of population very strange. And then from it would be better to know what will happen algebraically, what kind of things, what kind of algebraic structure, what kind of property of the algebra, genetic algebra, can detect this kind of behavior. Of course, in a higher dimension. But for the higher dimension, we don't know much information about this trajectory, you see. So it would be better to know, therefore, in the low dimension, what kind of structural property of the genetic algebra can predict this kind of behavior in a low dimension. If we can able to find that one, then applying that algebraic structure to the higher dimension will predict us give us this kind of divergence. Then it will be very nice. This will be for the listeners. It will be very interesting topic to investigate. But I don't know right now in the higher dimension up to maybe 6 or 7 are known a little bit. Very, very particular cases. In the n dimension also, there are very particular cases. We have this kind of divergence, but in generally, we don't know. So, of course, it will be very much interesting to know, as I again mentioning here, how we can invent such a property of the genetic Volterra algebras that will predict us this kind of divergence. Of course, if you know some kind of evolution algebras, that will be given after some time by another our speakers. So that kind of also direction also done in the terms of the detection of this problem. So next problem is related to the Bernstein problem, which is a fundamental statement in population genetics. It relates to the, in terms of the Volterra, what will happen, all the structure of the genetic algebras if we have this kind of property of the operator V. Understand? So if V squared equals to V, then what are the properties of the algebra, genetic algebra with this property? Such algebra is called Bernstein algebra. So Bernstein algebra is such a genetic algebra where V squared equals to V. So in the population theory, this means that after some time, all your what is called generation become stationary. So this property in some time is called also Hardy-Weinberg law. Okay. So now the problem is describe all Bernstein Bernstein algebras or Bernstein operators which satisfy this property. Okay, so this problem still unsolved at all. Of course, there are some cases are solved. For example, when m equal to, it is trivial and biologically not interesting. Therefore, Bernstein himself solved for the case m equals to 3 and got some results when m more than 4. And then in the papers of Lubitsch, and there are some people who tried to investigate this problem, but still this problem not solved in 100%, not solved. Many things are unknown. So in the formulation of the Bernstein, if we want to translate this equality into the algebraic language, it becomes like this. See? So what are the genetic algebras which satisfy this property? Okay, here the omega is this character related to the summation. Okay, so this is describe all these kind of algebras. So we can also define the for the baric algebras as well, notion of the Bernstein algebra if your multiplication satisfies this property. Of course, using this construction, Abraham suggests construct generalized Bernstein algebras also. So this one we can define element by these laws. Okay, there we can define there what is called powers by this way, and then we call it this algebra is end or the Bernstein algebra if we have this kind of property for all x. Of course, second order Bernstein algebra as usual Bernstein algebras. Of course, here I would like to again mention here explicitly describe this kind of algebra. You see, because why? V squared equal to V. It is a very simple one supposed to be, but in general it is not clear. Of course, when you want to move to the V cube equal to V, it becomes more complicated structures. So therefore, this opens a lot of what is called directions to investigate in the direction of genetic algebras, Bernstein algebras. Okay, so here some references if you want to know, you want to interested. So these books I will show you. These books, how this Pij matrices will relate to the non-Markovian processes. And this book also very interesting. What I mathematical population genetics, and then this book also very new books also which is interesting, relate and treats very several kind of dynamical properties of this genetic algebra. But here in my book, we're introducing quantum analogous of these quadratic operators. Of course, this will lead us to consideration of another type of algebras, but I will talk about this one maybe next time. It's also related to the quantum genetic algebras and correspondingly quantum groups also. That will be another topic I don't want to hear. But the question today was to motivate the listeners to study genetic algebras in several directions. Okay, if you have questions, please.
First of all, thank you very much. Are there any questions from the audience? I have a couple of questions.
Questions?
What is the motivation for
Yes.
That's the question.
Okay.
I cannot hear you.
My question is,
Your mic is off. No, your mic is off.
in the beginning of the lecture, you have mentioned that this theory has two sources. There is the dynamical system and there is the algebraic point of view. So
Yes.
my question is that to what extent this is the how to say a part of the two subjects.
I told you, yes. For example, you consider algebra, yes? V. Operator V, yes?
Mm.
And then you using this V, you can define algebra, yes? Genetic algebra.
Yes.
So the question is, you can study V separately, you can study V algebra separately, yes?
Yes.
But the question is how they relate to each other. This is the main point in this direction.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example, I told you, for example, idempotent represent for you fixed point of that V. Idempotent represent for you fixed points.
Mm. Mm.
So if you describe all idempotent of the algebra, this means that you described all equilibrium states means for your algebra, for the dynamics. Okay?
Mm.
But from the dynamical point of view, if you study that fixed points, the eigenvalues or that the Jacobians, this will open you new direction in the study of the algebra. You see, this will give you some kind of investigation of the idempotence using dynamical systems ideas. So you can interchange the notions, apply them into one, put them into one box, and get some new ideas in both directions, in dynamical systems point of view, and then from the algebraic point of view. These two stuff.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I get you. Thank you very much.
I hope all of you do a very interesting job, inshallah.
I see there's another question. Somebody else raised their hand.
Yes, please. So I just thinking about what you said earlier about all of these algebras being commutative.
Yes.
So how about if we imagine modeling the following phenomenon? We know that the hybrid animal species, for example, when you have a lion and a tiger, or donkey and horse breed together,
okay,
we know that depending on whether the mother, which species is the mother and the father, the offspring is significantly different.
Yes.
So can we imagine that we can, for example, include this into the study and look at non-commutative versions of these algebras?
Basically, it depends on your setting. You see, how you want to define your interaction, okay?
Yes.
For example, you want to put the donkey, and then what is your interaction? How you define this, what is called this inheritance probabilities. Am I right?
Yes.
So for the biologists, it's easy. They do some kind of 100 times experiment. They can get this what is called these probabilities, and then they can they give us. Then we do our investigation from mathematically, yes?
Yes.
But if you can define such kind of inheritance, why not to study? Understand? You should, theoretically, you can do it. You just drop this commutativity part, and you can get new algebras, you see?
Yes. And
from the mathematical point of view, you can study in principle.
Yes. Has anyone started any study in that direction?
Sorry?
Do you know of anyone that has started any study in that direction?
No, I don't know, because basically, if you drop commutativity, if you drop associativity, you come to the algebra which has nothing to keep. Am I right? How to handle
yeah,
this kind
I understand.
of
yeah. So yeah,
right?
it would be a kind of brute
General.
algebra, quite difficult to deal with. I agree on that.
Yes, this is the point.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I told you, if you consider this PIJK like what is called elements of some kind of quantum groups, yes, then you will have a new kind of algebra. Still, it is a commutative, but the structure will be totally different from the classical ones.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other question? Okay, let's thank the speaker again.
Okay, thank you.